Right now, Love and Understanding, written by Henry and Louis, featuring the man called Johnny Clark from Kingston, Jamaica. I am the man called Prince Green, sitting by and reasoning through people and say, listen to the lyrics, it is very constructive. Take it in.
Dub music started in Kingston, Jamaica. Largely all music was song-based, and the legendary King Tubbies created the style by mixing some tunes with no vocal on and taking pieces of vocal and dropping them out of the mix, which was done on a 4-track with bits of echo and reverb attached to it, and that was the birth of dub in the early 70s. I got into it more or less when I first heard it. At the time I was listening to a lot of punk rock music more than anything, and a reggae influence crept through the punk rock through groups like The Clash, and I started to listen to Bob Marley, and by the time I was 15 or 16 I was listening to a lot of reggae music sounds. Dub music for me is firmly rooted in the African cultural influence that was revealed through the Jamaicans in the 70s. And the essence of a good dub track is drum and bass. That's why styles like jungle have evolved, because of the essentialness of bass and drums, that something like that can evolve, because that's what dance music is about in its rawest form. I'm very heavily influenced by the style and presence of Nyabingi drummers. The dub roots was like an electronic form of Nyabingi that was created when the Rasses came to the studio from the hills. And to me it was the same spirit moving through the mixing desk at the hands of people like King Tubbies.
Bristol was a big place for reggae. There was a group called still is a group called Black Roots, and Black Roots were the kind of what would you say, the steel pulse of Bristol, and they still do. They play in Holland, Germany, all over the place, and they were kind of, I mean, photographs of them are like wonderful. It's just kind of, it's about 12 seriously dreadlock guys, you know, with a photograph taken in about 1980 outside a council block in St Paul's. It's like hardcore stuff, and that they were recording and touring from Bristol from years back.
Rock Bristol, rock, St Paul's jamming, jamming. Whoa now, rock Bristol, rock, St Paul's jamming. Can you hear the music playing? One eye you can't get in there.
was fantastic playing with Black Roots, you know. Traveled all over, done many gigs and different artists and things like that, you know. And it was wonderful.
Skippy Africana, Skippy Africana, Black Roots there. Bones are still on ya. Bones are still on ya.
A lot of people used to come and see us play live and things like that, you know. We have a big following in Bristol.
There was a lot of outfits going around, putting down some radical messages, you know. Sometimes the people don't want to hear that. They want to hear, I don't know what they want to hear, but they didn't want to hear that, obviously, you know. It's too radical for them, I think. The message was too strong. Some people want to listen to it, and it's hard to get a lot of people to listen to something radical, you know. I think if you could get your message across a bit more commercially, you know, you stand a chance. That's what we've got to try and do, I think. Make it a bit simpler for the people, you know, to pick up on.
Soften the ear.
Soften the edge, yeah. We're not like Black Roots or, you know, we're never going to aspire to that. You know, we've got to make our own sound. You know, we're looking for our own sound.
First met Black Roots back in 1986 at an event in Bridgewater, African Aid, and met Delroy, and that was my first sort of insight into reggae music. And then 5 or 6 years later I started up with a band called Orange Street. We were playing ska, influenced two-tone, bit of roots reggae. I met up with Delroy again at one of his gigs with his other band One Drop, and asked him if he'd like to come along and do a guest appearance with Orange Street. Just escalated from there.
I've lived with it all my life. My dad's a drummer. He's brought me up with reggae music, and that's all I've listened to really since I was little, so that's what I want to play.
The material at the moment is Delroy's material, gigging stuff that Delroy does. And we do a bit of songwriting.
That's what we're all about, really, you know. Rastafarian and Jah and roots in our culture, you know. Live loving with people and things like that. I live it all my life, you know what I mean, Rastafarian, you know. Still haven't cut my locks, but still I live it Rastafarian, you know what I mean. Yeah, to the fullness.
Thank you.
Bristol was a big reggae place, so that Gregory Isaacs and Dennis Brown and people like that would come here and play at the Top Rank Suite. Sound systems would arrive. There's always been that kind of underground in that there's black community centres like the Malcolm X Centre now or the Ink Works, where you've always had a tradition of reggae sound systems or kind of roots and